Wanderers, hello, it is Esquire. Listen, I know when I come on to introduce these videos, you think it's another best of. That's completely wrong. This week, we have Chase Bland, Dutchman running team athlete Chase Bland, Boston Marathon finisher Chase Bland, more bigger marathons on the horizon Chase Bland on the show this week. Smoke was coming back from Mexico. He's home. He made it safe and sound. Big Mase was headed out to Arizona. So that left yours truly to do the work. But Chase and I sit down in the lounge. We have a great conversation. I think you're really going to enjoy it. But what a super dude. When you get done watching this, if you're not just in awe of what it takes to run a marathon, then you're completely clueless. The training, everything to do with it. But Chase and I get into it. We talk about pre-race, training, getting ready, and then we talk about his experience at Boston, and it was awesome. Sit down, sit back, relax, enjoy it, because Chase Bland, awesome dude. Glad he's a part of the stable, but certainly going to enjoy the interview. I know I did when we did it there in Smoker's Lounge, but awesome interview. Enjoy it. Good news is, next week, we're back, all of us, unless I decide to go somewhere, which I may. You never know. But for right now, we'll be back next week, regularly scheduled programming. But this week, enjoy our buddy Chase Bland. Dutchman out.
You don't have to run a famous podcast to need the help and expertise of our friends at Branded by Woods. Whether you're in charge of a local group needing shirts or run a business and need a fresh logo, Branded by Woods can help. Brand recognition is paramount in today's society. At the Dutchman, we've worked with Branded on multiple projects, from our first logo design to merch lines. We always find it easy and stress-free to work with the team at Branded by Woods. From initial design to final approval, the process is great. Give our friends at Branded by Woods a call and do something creative today.
All right, and we're back for part 2 with our buddy Chase Bland. We hope you enjoyed part 1, where we talked about a lot of the training, a lot of what we did to get to Boston, and we purposely, as a program, well, just me because the other two aren't here, we purposely left Boston to be its own because that was the granddaddy of them all. That was the goal we were looking for, Chase. So we got through all of our training. We know we're fast, we're feeling good, and we get to Boston. So Boston Marathon is ran this year. It was Easter Monday, which is kind of weird. Easter was late.
Yeah.
But, you know, we get to Boston, just kind of start with what's that experience like when you get off the airplane?
Yeah, so we end up flying out Thursday, get to Boston, land. So, like, most of the marathon stuff really doesn't start till, like, there wasn't really any good flights on Friday. Like, the only, like, flights were, like, later in the evening, and I didn't, like, I wanted to do some things on Friday, so I was like, I don't really want to get there that late, so Thursday was when we ended up leaving. But most of the stuff really starts Friday. So get to the airport. I think we landed at, like, 6 o'clock or so, something like that in the evening.
Now, who went with you?
So my mom and dad went, and then one of my coworkers went as well.
Yeah.
Chris went as well. So we get to the airport, you know, do all that, waited for our bags, and we were like goofing off. It was like spirits were high, you know, like, everything was cool. We ended up having we ended up flying. We were not like first class, but we were like in the front, and we had like so we ended up having alcohol included.
Yeah.
My parents are probably not gonna like me saying this, but they may have had a little bit much. So anyway, they were feeling really good. I did not partake.
Here's what I'll say. I know this has nothing to do with anything. I've only done it once to where I've gotten heavy into cocktails. I was flying out to Denver with a buddy. We were going to see another buddy from college. And we flew Southwest, and the flight attendant was a sweet lady. And if you ever go anywhere with me, I'm a big say hi, make eye contact, smile, like just be a nice person.
Yeah.
And as soon as we got on the plane, and I pay extra on Southwest, I think I got a Southwest card, but like I like being able to choose. Like as a bigger guy, I don't want to be stuck in a middle seat.
So that was my thing too. Like I wanted to have a decent sized seat because I like just for leg room. Because like I don't want to be like
cramped up
3 hours on this plane.
Yeah. So we get in. I was just friendly, just talking to her, and as we were going through, we get up, and it was like a 3-hour flight to Denver, I think, out of Indy. And the lady comes through, and she's like, "Hey, you boys, whatever you want to drink, like it's comp today." And I was like, "You got Makers in one of those little bottles?" And she's like, "I do." And I was like, "You bring me Makers and ginger ale. That's all I need."
Yeah.
So she hands me the ginger ale. She's you gonna drink all that ginger ale in one? I was like, "Well, if the comp includes like 2 or 3, like that'll be great." So she's like, "Yeah, you guys are taking care of the entire flight." And so I was like, "Sweet." And so I started just mini bottle, splash of Sprite, sipping through, going, and then like 3 or 4 of them later, like we're coming down to land, and I mean, I get out my wallet. I was like, "Here's like $40 cash." Like,
Yeah.
she's like, "No, they were on the house." I was like, "No, that's for you. Like,
Yeah.
you keep, like, it's tip."
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, you didn't have to do that." And I was like, "No, it's the right thing to do." But like, as soon as I stood up on the plane, I was like, "Whoa, it affects you differently."
In altitude.
So if you're one of those rookies that's going out to Vegas and you're going to get popped on the airplane, don't do it, because that's a miserable experience, because the headache sets in, because flying naturally dehydrates you.
Right.
And then you've drank, I mean,
That
like
makes
for me, it was
sense,
like
yeah.
3 or 4. And then you're just like trying to get your stuff. You're in an airport. Like, this is not the time to be like silly, loosey-goosey. But yeah, it was a hell of an experience. But the headache that came like shortly after the excitement wore off was
Not worth it.
massive. So I know where your parents are at. I've been there.
Yeah. So they were feeling good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we stayed. The hotel we were staying at was like right across from Fenway Park.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which is really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we ended up going to the hotel. Didn't like at that point we're all. I mean, I was kind of tired in general from flying. So we were just like, let's just go find something close to eat, like near. So we were like at Kenmore Square, basically where we stayed.
Yeah.
Like let's just go find something to eat. So we went down, like walked down the street. There was this like little, like in Boston and some of the cities, they have like those little like basement like things. So there's like a place like right next to the hotel. They're like, yeah, it's pretty good. So we went there. I had like a lobster roll like right off the bat because I wanted to try one. And I was like, this is probably like my safest time to eat one, because I don't like, if this makes me sick, then at least I have a couple days to like recover.
Yeah, you're gonna be a little thinner when you get to the finish or the start line.
So so it was cool, really good. Then basically that was it. Wrapped it up for the night. Didn't do anything crazy. Then
So like when you guys landed, was like the airport like decorated like for Boston Marathon stuff?
So it
like does this? I mean,
so
I
the
think
city's pretty all out.
I think
for
we
it.
all know a few. I mean, it's probably been longer than a few years. Probably 10+ years ago. Obviously, Boston Marathon was the site of a terrorist attack, and I think since, I mean, they still embraced it, but I think because they do it on Patriot Day,
Right.
and so the
Boston's
city
strong.
has embraced it
Yeah.
a lot more now, and
Yeah.
I would imagine the security is a hell of a lot tighter than it used to be.
Yeah, I didn't really like notice anything in the airport that was like out of character or something, like that. I was like, oh wow, this is like beefed up. But we also got there Thursday, so like I was kind of like, I don't know if maybe as you get here like Friday, Saturday, if it's
a little bit different. Yeah.
But anyway, so then, and even like in the city, like really, but at the airport, like they had like a bunch of, there's like giant signs like everywhere, kind of like it is in Indy, like if you fly during like Indy 500 or Big Ten time.
So that's cool that you kinda...
it's cool, like you can tell like what's going on, which was really cool. So anyway, then the next day, the Friday morning, I wake up and I was gonna go. I had like a 4-mile run, or I think actually I did 5 that morning.
I just love how you say that. I was just gonna do a 5
Yeah,
mile.
so it's just a nice little 5-mile jog,
Yeah.
just to like loosen up after the plane. So they have like the Charles River there, and that's where like everyone runs, because they have like a kind of like a greenway like running path thing there. And there's really not that many other places to run in the city. Like honestly, that's basically it. I mean, it's long. Like you can run like over like 15 miles on if you want. But like it's so that's where everybody goes. Like pros, everyone. So you can imagine like Boston's really the other thing. Like, have you been to Boston?
I have not. No.
So like it's. I mean, some people are probably gonna say I'm wrong, but it doesn't feel like it's that big of a city. Like it feels pretty. I mean, like honestly, the downtown did not feel that big.
Yeah.
So you have all of these runners in particular, like in the same place. Everybody's kind of doing the same stuff. So that place is insane. Like the Charles River like Greenway, they have like a name for it. I can't remember what it is, but it is like insane. Like how many people are out there. And so the first day, I didn't even know this, being like a rookie, which I knew it was going to be busy because like I knew that's where everybody ran.
Yeah.
But I got up at like, I'm like this. It was also weird because the sun rose like so early there versus here. But so I got up pretty early, and then I just went ahead and ran. Well, it was like 7 a.m., which I guess a lot of people weren't even up to run yet. So I was like, nobody really out there. So like I was just passing like all these like there's actually all the Kenyan pros and like Ethiopian pros and like there's like a bunch of different pro runners out there. I'm like, wow, this is like really cool. Like I'm out here like with these people, like and like there's like not that many other people out. And so did my run, whatever, get back. Then we went and got some breakfast at like a really good place down on Newberry Street, which Newberry Street's kind of like this. So every marathon has an expo where you go to like get everything. But Boston is notorious for having like a really bad expo. So it's just,
really,
it's not very good. And I think it's mainly because they only let like the title sponsors put a booth in. So everything else is like they do on their own. But so what they do in return of that is everybody has these like pop-up stores. So like every running brand imaginable, like I mean literally any running brand.
Yeah.
They have on the Newberry Street, they have all of these like empty buildings that they just lease out, and then during marathon weekend every like running brand basically takes it and makes like a shop there. So instead of having like the expo like in a giant expo hall, it's actually just out on a street, which is kind of like honestly better because it's like then you're outside and you can kind of like go and come as you
do
please.
what you want. Yeah.
So we got breakfast, and then after that we were like, let's go ahead and like go all up Newberry Street before like the crowds get like crazy because it's Friday and not everybody's here yet.
Yeah.
So basically we could like go to all the shops and do everything we wanted to do, which was super cool. Went down to like, we walked the whole thing, went down to like the Boston Commons, where like the part that's like where you kind of get on like the buses in the morning over the race. But I kind of wanted to see some of that. Just
so were
like,
you kind of,
surroundings were,
because that's an interesting point. I mean, because you don't race till Monday, you're there early. Some of it is probably
a lot of it's
getting the feel for where you're gonna go, so it's not a surprise on race day, right?
Some of it, like our hotel was like on the race course, so like it was actually like a mile to go. So like our hotel was a mile from the finish line.
Yeah.
So we walked like that stretch like I don't know how many times. Like the last mile of the course, I could
do like
knew
a back
really really well.
Yeah.
But no, so we went up to all the shops and stuff, and it was really more so like taking in like the whole experience, just like the weekend, and just kind of seeing like I don't know, it was just so many people, and like you just run into some people like I would know from the like from just different things. Like I had one of my old college teammates works at one of the running companies that has a place there, so I talked to him for a while. Just like I don't know, just it was cool just like being around. It's kind of like the only time, especially for runners, because we're weird, so like
that's true.
The only time that you're around like a bunch of other runners that's like everybody like loves it, and that's like all that they care about. And so it's really weird to be surrounded by that and not feel like, oh wow, like my interests are foreign versus DuBois County, where like people make fun of me. So.
You're in a massive area of similar like-minded individuals, so it's a good feeling,
right? So so we did that. Then we went and got some lunch at a place. It was actually like the best lunch I ever had. It was like a turkey avocado club. That thing was amazing. Like I distinctly remember that. It was so good. But then we went to the expo to get my bib, which was a really cool experience. Like so getting the bib was just like, I don't know, like I wasn't like emotional, but like internally, like it was very like,
because it's a
wow,
goal.
like it's just so surreal. Yeah, like just to. Like, you're like obviously running and everything, but like just whenever you can actually like tangibly touch the bib is just like, it's pretty special. I know that sounds like really like cliche.
Well,
but
no, but I mean,
it's just meaningful to have it.
For the understanding of folks, like when you've set this big, hairy, audacious goal and you had some trials to get to it, to finally have it in your hands, that's where it becomes.
It's like reality. Like it's
that's
like
exactly
really,
right.
like,
That's exactly right. Reality sets in.
Yeah. So that was super cool. Like that moment, like I was like really like, it did kind of take my breath away for a moment, just because it was like, wow, like this is pretty cool. Like I finally have this. Like this is actually happening. Like it's not just a dream anymore. So then we did that. Walked through the expo. Got like my jacket and everything, and like
I know, show that bad boy off a little bit.
So you have to get it. Like it's the finisher's jacket. However, I would not. So people like wear them all weekend, which like obviously. So this is like 25. So some people get like each one each year. I was gonna get one since my first. I don't know if I'll get another one if I'll do it again. But like so they call it like the celebration jacket, but it's like or finisher's jacket. So like I personally feel like I was not putting the thing on. Like people walk around in it like all.
It's kind of like touching the Stanley
I'm not
Cup.
putting it on until I'm
Yeah,
done.
you don't. There's an old saying: you don't touch the Stanley Cup without having won it because you'll never win it. So that's kind
like,
of the.
I'm like, I mean, I'm not putting this thing. Like,
you
that's
haven't
just
earned it.
bad
It's the
luck.
it's
like,
the finisher's jacket. Yeah.
So got that. Like I like didn't even look. I mean, we like tucked it away like in the hotel. I'm like I don't even want to like see it.
Now they probably don't put those finisher jackets in like a 3X. I assume probably.
Well, they do because so that's the thing. And this is
we could all buy it.
So this is my beef with this. So like Adidas is just in it to make money,
Of
obviously.
course.
So yeah, I personally feel like I don't care if they have another jacket. Like make it a different color or something. I don't give a crap what you do. But like you should have to show a freaking medal or like your bib or something to get the jacket.
Yeah.
And then have another one for like everybody else.
For spectators.
Yeah, I'm like that is BS. That like yeah, because it's like online. Like it's probably on sale right now because it's 2025. So
Well,
they're trying to get rid of.
We ought to go. We ought to.
Yes, you guys
look
can all
for
get,
this.
Yeah,
and go
you guys
get one.
can get one. They have like I'm sure you guys could find some. Yeah.
Oh,
it's
we'd probably
crazy.
need some pretty good sizes for.
Yeah,
some of the
but
rest of the
I think
podcast.
that's bullshit. I like it actually pisses me off that you can buy that. I don't agree with that. But anyway, so yeah, so got the jacket, got to the expo. I'm trying to think actually what we even did. I think after that I ended up going back. I don't even remember what we did that night.
Because this would have been Friday night,
Yeah,
right?
Friday night.
So when
We went over to Finn. We ended up going back to the hotel room, kind of like
Relaxing.
Yeah, for a little bit, and then we went to around Fenway because there was a game that night, and we just went and ate at one of the places right around.
Yeah.
Fenway.
you didn't catch a game,
I did. But
Okay.
yeah, that's later.
Okay.
So that was Friday, and then Saturday, I again got up. I got up a little bit later that day, which was a mistake because then I found out that the trail, I mean, you could like barely run. There were so many people out there. So I did like 4 miles that day. And then we ended up doing like a walking tour, like history tour my mom and dad wanted to do.
Yeah.
So we went through like the old, all the Boston stuff, which was super cool. Like, I mean, the history, like I like history. So it was cool to see. It was also really cool because like that was, or that would have been, I guess that was Saturday. Yeah. Cause that was right before obviously the 250th Patriots Day. So there's like a lot of stuff going on with like Paul Revere's ride and everything,
Yeah.
which was like super cool. Yeah. And so got to see all the buildings. Yeah, it was a really cool time.
Yeah.
And then Saturday night is when we ended up eating at the North End, which is like the Italian part of Boston.
Getting that pre-race meal. So what was the
Yeah.
pre-race meal?
Well, that was Saturday. So
Oh,
Sunday,
okay. Yeah, that's right. I forget Monday's the race.
Yeah, but like reservations were like insane there, and so that was like kind of like for time wise, and we were gonna go to a Red Sox game on Sunday, so we didn't really want to have to go like all the way across the city again. So it was like this is the only time to really eat on the Italian side. So I ended up getting some. I think I had some lobster ravioli. I had a lot of lobster actually, which obviously worked. So I mean, I'm all for it.
All in on lobster.
But yeah, so it was super good. Then we went to Mike's Pastries, which is like a cash only like pastry place.
Yeah.
That like there's a picture of my mom holding like I don't know how many boxes of pastries. It was so freaking good. Like amazing.
That's cool.
Pastries. And then after that, then Tyler and Robin got in, and so we met them at the hotel. They ended up getting, it was like 7 or 8 o'clock at night. So I ended up like walking across the street. They got something right across from the hotel that night, kind of hung out with them, just chatted, whatever. And then Sunday morning we went to, so a lot of the brands and just different like organizations will put on shakeout runs on Sunday.
Yeah.
So we went to, there's another running podcast actually that some guys in Louisville do. And I know them a little, like they're not like super close or anything, but like I know who they are. And so they're like, hey, are you going to come to the pod? Are you going to come to our shakeout? And I was like, yeah, sure. So they had like, I don't know, maybe 40 people at their shakeout. We kind of met up, and most of them were from like the Louisville area and stuff.
Yeah.
So ran like 3 miles with them on Sunday morning. They had like some other like some socks and stuff they were giving away and stuff like that. So got some free stuff, which was cool. And then after that went and got some breakfast, and then I went back to the hotel and just kind of chilled for a little bit. And then we went to a Red Sox game, went to Fenway, and that was freaking cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. yeah, it was. They played the White Sox as well, which was like obviously hoping Colson was gonna be there, but like it didn't work out. So anyway, we won't talk about that. But yeah,
you upheld your end of that deal.
Yeah, right. So yeah, we got to watch that, which was cool. I mean, to be in Fenway, like it was cool. Like, I mean, I'm a baseball fan, but I'm not like a huge, guy or something. But like, it's super cool just to see like the history. Like, I mean, you just like sitting there.
It's a museum in and of itself.
Like,
it's kind of like
I don't even care. Like, I don't even care to really like necessarily watch the game. Like, I don't really
check
care.
out everything else.
Yeah,
it's an experience thing. That's kind of Wrigley Field for me. Is that
I haven't been to Wrigley. I want to go to Wrigley.
I'm a big Cubs fan, and I haven't been there since they did the big remodel the last probably 5 or so years. But like those kind of historic parks, which is like a shame when they tear down these other places for stadiums, because I get it on one end, but on the other end, you don't get that history back.
Yeah. Like it doesn't even like I mean, just going to Fenway, like just being there was just like, it was the cool, like, I mean, like it was one of those things too, where, like, honestly, like just sitting down, like, cause that was the other reason why it was a good thing to do. Cause I just wanted to sit anyway.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't really want to sit I'm in Boston. I don't want to sit in my hotel room like all day.
Well,
just
and that
being like, oh, I'm resting.
Yeah.
Like
some of that,
like, it's right across from like the hotel. Like, it's a baseball game. Like you can sit there, like whatever, like you're not using energy.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, I mean, go enjoy the experience. Like I don't like, that's how I looked at it. So yeah, it was super cool. I think I don't even remember who won the game.
It's irrelevant.
It was fun. And then that night we had, so the hotel we were staying at had like a really nice restaurant off the side of it, which I knew they did like pasta specials and stuff like for like the race. So I was like, that'll actually be really good because like we'll go back from the game, we can just like take a little bit of time. So I think after the game, because it was like a really weird start. It was like a 1:00 start game or something. Yeah. And then they like Tyler and Robin and like my parents, like everybody pretty much all went to back on Newberry Street because they hadn't been there yet. So they all went down there, and then I just stayed at the room and like took a nap. And then after my nap, we went and got food, and at the restaurant I got some like other pasta again, like some ravioli thing again. And then that was pretty much it. Like after that, it was like, all right. The night kind of flew by. Like after that, So then it was like get everything laid out.
Which we saw the picture. That was cool.
Yeah.
Of a dream realized, and that's awesome. And I think I think part of it, you talk about doing some of the other sightseeing and some of those other things. If you just sit there, holed up in your hotel room, like it builds an angst, and it builds like this nervousness that you don't want. You just
right. And I also like, I mean, a lot of people had said like go enjoy the experience, and like I had some other friends who had made it and weren't really like racing. They were just gonna like enjoy the race and have fun in it. Which I'm a competitive person. I was like, if I'm going to like, I'm gonna race. Like I'm not coming just to be like, oh, I'm gonna come out here and just
look, I made it.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Right. So like, and I feel like it's Boston, like the race, like you owe the race like your full effort.
Respect.
Too. Yeah. So that's my personal belief. Now, like I'm not saying like if you don't do that, like there's something wrong with you. That's just like the way I look at it.
Yeah, that's cool. We're gonna take a quick pause because we're right to the point of Monday, race day. We'll be right back.
May is Military Appreciation Month at Hopf Outdoor Power. They are honoring our local veterans by partnering with Boot Campaign and giving away a pair of Reebok Nano X1 or Garment T8 tactical boots to a local veteran. All you have to do is visit one of 3 Hopf Equipment or Hopf Outdoor Power locations, show proof of military service, complete a simple registration, and you're set. Drawing is May 30th. We love when local businesses give back, and at the Wondering Dutchmen, we support the troops and veterans in our community. That's why we love Hopf Outdoor Power. Thank you, Hopf Outdoor Power. Veterans, do your thing. Sign up today.
All right, we're back. So Sunday night's flown by. We set out the uniform for the day. And we get to Monday. So take us all the way up to the start line.
Yeah.
But go ahead and give us kind of like because logistically, I've got the map, the course pulled up here, and we'll talk about the course when we get to the start line. But you're a hell of a ways, distance-wise from where the finish line is because it's not an out and back. It's not a loop. It's none of that. It's basically a straight course. So you got to go 26 miles west of Boston to finish in Boston. So what's the morning like? You've obviously got all your race gear stuff. They transport you like, and I know, and we can talk about some of it of the in-race part, but like Tyler talked about it a little bit because he sent some messages while you're running. Like, it's difficult to get around for spectators. You almost have to get to a spot and plant. But what's it like? You wake up and get us to the starting line.
Yeah, so I think I got up around like 5 a.m. I didn't sleep like super well, which isn't like uncommon, you know. Like, it's
I would
hard
be
to
surprised.
Sleep. So yeah, I get up, like take a shower, just do everything, kind of like wake up. And then I had like some bagels with some like cream cheese just in like the room. I went ahead and ate just for more carbs because like I'd been carb loading. I guess I really didn't talk about that. Like I've been carb loading like the whole time, like prior to just like drinks, like a bunch of carb drinks, a bunch of like rice cake bar things, basically.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's not like carb loading kind of sucks, honestly. It's not like everything like you think like, oh, it's awesome.
You're sitting down eating a box of donuts.
Yeah, it's not very much fun, really. And like so I had some bagels. I think I ended up eating like I just like had like the bottom of the bagel or something. It's so hard like for me to eat before a race anyway. So did that. I had like another like a electrolyte carb drink that I was drinking as well. And then I was meeting some guys from Evansville that had done this was his 11th straight Boston Marathon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so I was meeting them.
Did those guys run at UE?
No, they actually did not.
Really?
Yeah,
because I know
one of their training partners did.
Brian
Joyce.
Yeah. I know Brian.
So
and his wife. Sweet people.
Yeah, for sure. So Jason Howe is this guy's name.
Okay.
He's really freaking good, like super good runner. He ran like in 2018 when it was like horrible weather at Boston. He ended up getting he was in like the top, I want to say like top 200. Like it was insane.
That's
insane.
insane.
Yeah, he's a really good runner. But he was just kind of like going to continue his streak this year, so he wasn't like great shape. But I messaged him before because I was kind of like, I knew I'd figure it out, but I was like, if I have some people here like that I know that have done it
before,
like I'd rather, like, hey, can I just like tag along with you and make sure I don't like mess anything up, and stuff. So they were like, yeah, for sure. They're super nice and like had me come over and meet them at their hotel, which is like right next to the buses. But yeah, so anyway, so I had the bagel, so we ended up going down to the T to take the T over because it was like a mile basically from where our hotel was to where the buses pick you up, which is in Boston Commons. So my bus left at 6:45 a.m.
Okay.
Whenever I had to be there. So I think we left the hotel like 6, got over there at that hotel to meet those guys, and then we walked then after that, like Tyler and Robin and I said goodbye to everybody, which was like kind of it literally felt like your first day of school.
Yeah,
because you're like, and there's like school buses that are literally taking you. So yeah, it was just like so awkward because you're just like, all right, well, I'll see you in like a couple hours.
See you guys.
Yeah. So that was like kind of nerve wracking already. That was like the first moment where it was like, wow, like there's just a lot of like anxious energy everywhere, because it's not just like it just was overwhelming. Like the energy from like other people, like my energy, just like.
There's a buzz in there.
And there's just a lot going on.
So do you, like, when you're loading up on that bus, you're basically ready to run, right? Or do they have...
So you go to Athletes Village. So, like, it's about a 45 to an hour bus ride out to the start, which is insane because, like, you're right.
You're cramped on a bus for that long.
And not only that, but, like, the whole time that you're on this bus. So, like, I was, like, the second bus to leave Boston, which was kind of cool because, like, we had, like, police escort kind of, like, out, which was cool. But, like, yeah, so you just, like... But it was also weird because, like, you just got out on the interstate and there's, like, other cars and everything out there, like, normal. And there's just, like, all these buses. Like,
and they have no clue what's going on.
I assume they know. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but it's crazy because, like, you're on this bus for, like, an hour and you're, like, the whole time, like, I'm just, like, looking, this is the first time I've ever been, obviously, like, outside of, I've been to Massachusetts before, but, like, I was 8. It's, like, I don't remember anything. And, like, but, like, I'm just looking at everything, taking everything in. I'm like, wow, like,
looking out the window.
Yeah. And it's, like, you have to run, like, this whole way back.
Yeah. That's
like,
where it really sets in.
Yeah. So it's, like, wow, this is taking, like, a really long time to get out of here, and I have to run this whole thing back. So, it took, like, every bit of 45 minutes, I'd say, to get there. And then when you get, so it's actually at like Hopkinton is where the start is. And we get to like the high school, unload off the bus, and everything, and then we go into Athletes Village.
Okay.
Which is like where you hang out till they call you up to the start line, basically. Yeah.
So they do, because like that's what for me to think about, because like when we were at Carmel with you, like
you're like everybody's at the start.
You
like,
could you could give your stuff to your parents.
Yeah.
and
So basically, what you're allowed to take with you is they give you like a little like baggie that it's like a gallon size like Ziploc bag.
Yeah.
And you can take, so you have to fit everything in there. Now you can like wear stuff. So like I had on like a sweatshirt, sweatpants, because you don't really know how cold it's gonna be, and like a bunch of like bars and stuff in this bag, and like some other stuff, and I had like a water bottle with my drink mix and my shoe. And then I had, so because it's on grass, so if it's dewy or rainy, then you have so many, like 30,000 people in this like grassed area, so the ground is like destroyed. So everybody said like make sure you bring like old pairs of shoes, and then you have to like leave everything there, because there's nothing that comes back with you unless you carry it. Like if you bring something there, like it's not coming back with you unless it's on your body.
So that was what I was trying to get
so, like,
to, was basically stuff that you're good leaving behind.
Yeah, so it was just all like throwaway stuff. And then you just like, it was crazy. Like we just kind of sit there, hang out. Like everybody's like, laying on the ground. Like we had like, so I had like a bunch of trash bags and stuff that we brought with us that you just like put down as like a beach towel, basically.
Yeah.
Just like hang out and just wait. And we were in the tent, and I was talking to the guys from Evansville and stuff, and they were like just kind of talking about like last minute advice with the course and different things. And everybody, it was funny. Everybody around us, I'm not joking, like every single person around us was speaking Chinese or like they were not from here.
Not from around these
and
parts.
Yeah, and I'm just like, wow, this is crazy.
It's
like
an international event.
Yeah, so that was interesting. And then and then they just start calling stuff, and they're like, hey, like, if you're a red wave, like you come to the start. And so we had a couple of them that went to the bathroom, so we're kind of waiting on like everybody to group up. Then we're gonna walk up together, because me and one other guy were both in the same wave, or he was in wave 3 and I was in wave 2. So we kind of all grouped up, walked up. It's like a 3/4 of a mile walk actually from the high school to the start line.
Jesus.
Yeah, so there's a lot that goes in, because a lot of this stuff too, like obviously before a race you don't want time on feet. Like you're trying to, limit the amount of steps and everything, but there's not anything you can do about that in a race like this. So, we walk all the way to the start. You kind of get into your corrals. So like I could see the front, because I was close enough where I could see everything.
Yeah.
And the professional women started like right when I was getting like up into my corral.
Yeah.
And then
because they actually
because they started like 9:47.
Yeah, and with I think the women's champion was they at like 2:20, 2:18,
2:17.
2:17
course record this year.
Yeah, so if you think about it, they're only 15 minutes in front of you.
Yeah,
race wise.
Right. So so when we get into the corral and everything, and I kind of was like, it wasn't super. It was actually nice. No, normally in a lot of these race corrals, it's so like compact.
Yeah,
and you're just like on top of each other, and it like sucks. But I actually had like a lot of room, which was really weird. I thought it was gonna be like super compact, but it was. I was fine. So I took, all the I had all my throwaway stuff, took all that off. Basically, was down to just like my racing top and half tights, and was ready to go. I didn't need gloves or anything, and and then it was pretty cool because they do a flyover. So like they did the national anthem, but they don't do any of that for the pros. They actually wait until they have like the general amateur our start.
Yeah.
So which was weird because normally everything's for like the professional
pros.
field.
Yeah.
So they did like the national anthem and everything like right before we started. Like the flyover happened like right before we started.
That's cool.
Yeah, which was super cool. It's definitely obviously one of the things that's cool about road running or marathoning in general is you can go play golf courses, you can go play but you're never the same time as them versus in, a marathon. And it's said a lot, but that is a cool thing about the marathon. On that day, you're with, granted I don't start with them, but you're still on the same course, same day, same conditions, everything's the same, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. And it is a true test of, where those pros at, where you're at, because it's not they run any different. So
right.
So did you see any of those pro guys hanging around before, or they had already started?
No, I didn't see any of them. I saw them the days leading up, on some of my runs and stuff, but I didn't see any of them at the start line. They already had started. And even the women, I literally saw them take off, but I just saw their backs. That was all I was able to see. But yeah, it was cool. Like the other thing that's really, really cool about the race is like in Hopkinton, like you can just tell how much pride like those people take in that. Like, I mean, if it weren't for that race, like no one, I mean, obviously people know what the town was, but not like it is. So
to that extent.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool to see like how much pride they take in the event. And like, this is where it all starts. Like that's literally like, it all starts here like that.
Yeah.
It's super cool to see that. And like they had like block parties like outside all the houses like leading
everybody's
up to the
hanging
start
out
line.
because it's probably a day. I mean, it's Patriot Day there, so they're all off work. Yeah.
So like, and it was very much like I think the closest thing to honestly like describe it to is it kind of reminded me of like Ireland, kind of like that size, and it was like 56, like because that's basically what you run on, it's like a highway like that.
Yeah.
So it's not super wide, like for a big race like this, like that's not a very wide road to run on.
No.
And yeah, it's very much like that, like, and there's just people like drunk off their ass at like 7 a.m. or I mean at this point it's like 9.
9. Yeah, good for them.
But yeah, I mean they're just out there having a good time. Like they'll come up to you and like like yeah, it was cool, but. The people definitely make the event what it is for sure.
So you mentioned it. So you start in Hopkinton.
Yeah, the town names are definitely hard to pronounce and like get butchered like bad.
So it's cool because I'm looking at the Boston Marathon official JetBlue course map here. Shout out to them. But it looks like there's a little bit of a state park there.
Yeah.
So you start first mile.
Yeah. So so I'll kind of so basically right when we start.
Well, here, okay. So you get into the corral.
Yeah. Do you want to wait and we'll?
Well, no. What's your initial thought? Like, what are you thinking right now as you get in the corral?
I was pretty like, I mean, I was definitely like ready to just start, but I was also like, wow, this like I was soaking it. I was like like. Wow, like I was just looking around, like soaking everything in. Like this is pretty freaking cool.
Yeah.
I was talking to there's a guy next to me that was his first time doing it too, and he, I don't even know his name. We were just talking in general. Yeah, it was super cool. Like I mean, just like the energy around everything. Like everybody was smiling. Like all the fans on the side. Like like I said, like they're all having a good time. Like it was really cool.
Yeah, that's neat.
And it's hard to like put into words. Like I mean, like I have like visuals of like what everything was like. Yeah. It was just like wow. Like just taking it all in was.
Here we are. We're gonna jump into the race, but before we do that, we're gonna take a quick break. Mayday, mayday! No, we aren't going down on a plane, but your old pellet smoker isn't cutting it anymore. Nick Merkley in Southern Indiana Hardwoods is ready to help you. Whether it's a new Green Mountain grill or pellets, Nick has you covered. Skip the box stores where they sell cheap products and even worse service. Nick services what he sells and will even make house calls in and around the DuBois County area. Don't wait until it's too late. Call Nick at Southern Indiana Hardwoods today. All right, and we're back. So we're in Hopkinton. Or the start gate, do they just say go or is there a gun?
No, they fire a gun. So
yeah,
they,
well, that's
they shoot
good.
a gun.
It's not a musket because that'd be cool if it's a
not,
musket.
It should have been. I mean, yeah.
We needed Boston Marathon people. We're idea people.
Yeah.
Go ahead and use a musket to start the race.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, so they shoot the gun off. It's probably like I don't know. Took me maybe 40 seconds at that point to like get to the start line. For that. Yeah, so start, and then the first like 4 miles are just like extremely downhill. Like I mean you're talking like very steep. Like I was not like everyone tells you they're steep, but I was surprised how steep they actually were. And then there is a little hill like right before the mile, but it's like you're going down so much downhill that it's like it's insane like how much downhill you go down.
Well, and it's interesting as it goes. So the first mile, in between the first mile and the second mile, did you see the Stallianos Cactus statue?
I did not.
Okay.
But I think I do know what you're talking about. There. So that's the thing. There are so many people. Like, I mean, there are some videos that you can like look out there of just like the start, and like it is insane how many people are around you, and and you're running downhill. So it's like, and you don't want to like run obviously too fast. I mean, you're the first mile of a marathon, and like. The pounding on your quads and like your back and everything like running downhill takes, so you have to be like very like conservative and be like, okay, watch everything you're doing and try to like less the impact. Like you can't just like full send down this hill.
Yeah,
but it's hard because there's so many people
and you're amped up.
And so you're trying to like not step on people, and you're not trying to get stepped on as well or like hit. So there was a lot going on like in the first mile. Like I was very uncomfortable just because it was so crowded. but yeah, I mean, and that's not uncommon. Like in a lot of these big races like this, they're so crowded that it is hard to be comfortable.
Yeah.
And so I kind of knew that going in. And then as we got through the first couple miles, like the downhills just continued to happen. I started out kind of conservative. I knew I was going to be trying to targeting around 610 a mile to 605 a mile.
Which is funny you say you tried to be conservative, and I think you were at like 605, 606.
My first mile was 610, and but it is because it's so downhill. Like your effort is just like not. I mean,
yeah,
it's not even existent. Like it's insane. I mean, like the elites, like some of their fastest miles are in the beginning, just because of it's like the nature of the course.
And that's where they gain ground in a whole race.
Right.
They figure they can do that.
So it's a risk. Like you can try to bank time, but at the same time you're destroying your legs because of how much of an impact it is with the downhills.
So the first 5K gets into Ashland.
Yeah, so Ashland was cool. There wasn't. That actually was probably like the only town that like really didn't have a whole lot going on in it.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, there's still people. Like there's people like pretty much the whole course.
Yeah.
But like that was the only town that I wasn't like, wow, like
yeah, this is cool.
All out. Yeah. But so then after Ashland, I think it was like, so that would have been like mile 5, right?
It's mile 3, 4,
Okay.
5, and then you get into Farmingham around the 10K.
Yeah. So that's where Tyler and Robin and Chris were in.
That's where they sent the video that we shared out.
So right around mile 5 to 6, I had like, I mean, I didn't feel bad, but like you start to like the downhills already start to like affect your quads.
Yeah.
Like I was like, wow, my quads are like pretty.
So are we still going downhill at this point?
It starts to level out at that
Okay.
point. So like right around mile 5, it starts to level out. And I mean, I was like, yeah, this is like my quads are burning, like, which mile 5 into marathon's not exactly something like I was like happy about.
Yeah.
Like, wow, this is going to be pretty rough. And then, so from like mile 6 to 10, which is where it's pretty flat. And there's, it was not like, I don't know. I didn't feel very good in that direction. I was hitting splits. Like I was running.
I was going to say your
fast,
times through
like,
that was great.
fine. It was just more like stay in the moment and just try to like get through each mile. But I did not feel very good, but it also started to kind of like, there was a little bit more space and you could start to breathe a little bit and it wasn't like you're on top of people, which started to help a lot. But then right around mile, it's like right at 10, you hit your first like little uphill.
Yeah, that's the Natick.
Yeah, so Natick is actually, that was probably like, honestly, that was my favorite town we ran through.
Yeah.
And I don't even know, well, I know why, but so we were getting, it's not that big of a town and we were getting up to it and like, there's like, so basically when you're running through each town, there's like squares kind of like in them. It's like,
well,
it's
and
like
you pick that up on ESPN's coverage.
Yeah,
as these
like
guys
they'll
are coming
show-
through, like you see it and you're like, that's awkward that it just runs through that, but I guess that's the course.
Yeah. So it's just like a big, like, I mean, these are all real old towns. So it's just like the old history of the course and the towns in general. But yeah, so you're running through like these big squares and it's kind of like the courthouse type feel like we have here.
Yeah.
But there's like block parties, like, I mean, everywhere. And there was this one block party in Natick. And this guy, so the Celtics obviously were in the the playoffs. So like it was like, so that was big. But so there's just this block party and there's like a ton of guys at this block party. And they all have like Celtics jerseys on. And I mean, they're like obviously hammered.
Yeah.
And they're just like all sitting there screaming, like smoking cigars and just like pointing at people in like the race, just like screaming like, let's go.
Yeah.
But in like the most Boston accent like ever. And
I couldn't pull the Boston accent.
I can't do it either. But I was just like,
get your khakis, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I was just like, wow, this is like that was like, I mean, it was just weird that you're like, that is the most stereotypical Boston thing I've ever seen in my life. And
a bunch of Boston dudes in Boston Celtic jerseys, smoking cigars, yelling at people in Boston accents during the Boston Marathon.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool. And that, like, honestly, from that point on, like from 10 to half marathon, after we finally went up that first hill, it actually kind of woke me up a little bit. And I think I started to feel better. I don't know if it's just because I used some different muscle groups or something, like climbing or what it did, but I felt better. And I was like, okay, like I'm starting to kind of like get the flow.
You kind of
like,
get into the groove.
Good. Yeah. And then from 10 to 12, so right before 12 or right after 12, you hit the Wellesley Scream Tunnel, which is the Wellesley Girls College.
Yeah.
So like that's where you'll see they're actually the guys the podcast that I was talking about earlier, they have like a viral clip where one of their friends like made out with one of the girls in the Wellesley Scream Tunnel. So like they'll give kisses if you.
Oh.
Yeah. I did not partake.
Oh.
I was trying to run fast.
We were on a mission. Yeah.
But yeah. So but it's super cool. So the Scream Tunnel's like half mile long probably.
Yeah.
And it's just like all the girls from that school, and they just line the course, and I mean just like scream. Like it was crazy. Like
That's
it's
wild.
So loud.
That is wild.
You can hear it from like half mile away. Like you like because it's pretty quiet. It's a like right before you get to that point, it's kind of a quiet part in the course.
Yeah.
And then because it's like right before you get into Wellesley, and when you get there, it's like wow, like they're insane. It was pretty cool. That was like a goosebumps moment. Like just one of like that's like one of the most iconic things about Boston too.
Yeah.
So it was like to run through that was pretty cool. Yeah. So get through that, and then you're basically to halfway. And once I hit half marathon, like I was feeling I started feeling really good. I was a little warm because it was like, it was very sunny. So like, I mean, I got sunburnt actually.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like temperature wise, it was only like 53, 54. Maybe like got up to like 57, I think was the highest point in the course, which is what is very weird about Boston's because like the weather can change so much because you have so much like with the coastal breeze, and then you have like
What comes in off the.
Yeah, and you're so far away still from Boston. Like at some points in the race, it's like 13 miles. Can be a big difference. Like for their like their weather there. So yeah, it got a little warm. Like for me, like in Chase, other people are gonna say I'm soft and probably make fun of me for saying this, but like I was warm. I would have preferred it to have been like another like 10 degrees cooler. Like,
or if it was an overcast, cloudy day.
Yeah. So for me, I would have preferred that. Now everybody else is going to say it was like perfect conditions. Cause like, I mean, like for Boston, like that was really good.
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to get there. But yeah, I would have preferred it to be a little bit cooler. Now I'm not complaining. I just like, if I was picking my ideal
race condition. So you get, that 25K mark, you get to the Charles River, and then you get into Newton.
Yeah.
The Woodland Country Club, which looks like it's right on the course.
So yeah, that's the part. So once you get through halfway, you have a really, really big downhill going into 16, which is the fastest mile I ran on the course.
Yep.
I purposely tried not to run fast there because I actually took a gel during that mile to try to slow me down because I didn't want to like. You can get a lot of time back there.
Yeah.
But I was just like, because once you get to 17, like once you get to mile 16, like that's where the hills are. So from 16 to 21, like that's the Newton Hills, like that's where the race is.
Yeah. Well, and that's where, which it's funny because on the map here, it has Newton, and then it kind of has a heart with like
the Heartbreak Hill.
Heartbreak Hill there is between mile 20 and 21, area, but it's so you get to the Newton they got the Newton fire station there. So did you run by the fire station?
So yeah, you do. So basically they call it Firehouse Hill actually. So whenever you
15 to 16's downhill. Yeah. And does 16 start to climb to 17?
So once you hit 16, like it's like that, like you go up, like it's like almost immediate. So that was the first hill on the course. That was like the earlier hill I talked about isn't really like, I mean, it's a hill, but it's not like it's a minor hill in the race. So this is the first major climb. And, Jason, the guy I was talking about earlier, kind of told me before the race, like, hey, just so you know, sometimes like when I've done this race, if you like don't let that first hill like necessarily intimidate you, because he said like for some reason a lot of people will feel really bad climbing that hill, but then will kind of like come back after that.
Yeah.
So he's like, just be aware of that, and like if you do feel bad in it, like just try to get through it, and then hopefully you'll feel better after the hill. So like okay, so I felt pretty good getting into them, and mentally I was just like, all I got to do is get from 16 to 21. Like that's all I really was focusing on.
Because that's the Heartbreak Hill.
Yeah, that's
range.
The hills like that. That's the race. So the first hill came, and you take like a right and like at the firehouse, and I was like, holy shit, this is I didn't drive the course before, and I'm glad I did not, because that hill was big. Like I was genuinely surprised. Like I did not think that you can see elevation profiles, you can see everything, like you can mimic everything you want,
but until you're standing at the base of it on race day, it's
just different. And I mean, everybody says like they're not that bad. I'm not one of those people. They were bad. Like I'm not gonna say that they were not bad. And so I mean, And I feel like I did like every bit of hill training I could have going into this.
Well, I know we had talked, and you said 161 has about the same elevation profile
it's similar.
as Heartbreak
It's
Hill.
very similar. Like there was a lot of spots where like the grades are, if they're not like overly steep, like because that's the one thing about here. We have a lot of short, steep hills. You know, like they suck to run. Like they're just so steep. But like these were more steady, like long,
rolling, longer
and they're
hills.
not really like steep hills. So that was probably like the most similar thing to me to compare it to around here.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first hill was rough. Got through it. Didn't really slow down too much, but then after that is when I started slowing down. Now, naturally, like it is hilly, so you're gonna slow down. Like that's like the nature of the course. Like the front half is faster than the second.
But I
half.
remember, if I remember correctly, you're still moving 6.
Yeah, so I came through
6.5, 6.6.
Right, I came through halfway in like 1:20.05.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was on pace to run like obviously like low, 2:40.10 through halfway. So I knew like the back half of the course is about a minute slower than the front half. So if you're like even splitting, you're technically going to run a minute slower on the second half just because the hills are hard.
So you want to be a little bit faster in your front half.
Yeah, because it's just the way the course is with the downhills. So I got through the first hill, and then you kind of like so after you get through the first hill, you go back down, and then the second hill is smaller, and then you go back down again after the second hill, and then the third hill you go up, but then there's no downhill after the third hill, and then you hit Heartbreak.
So that would be 17 was the right.
Yeah.
Going into 18, which is the climb. You go back down a little bit into 19, which is the 30K mark and the John Kelly statue. Did you see the John Kelly statue?
I was at that point. I was hurting so bad.
You'd be a terrible tour guide. So then 20, you said goes back down a little bit.
Yeah.
Right. And then
so no, 20 you go up, but then you don't. So the last. So what makes the third hill and Heartbreak Hill so bad because there's the 4 hills. So like. Because the third hill, you don't get any recovery. Like, you climb it, and it just flattens out. And climb again into Heartbreak. So it's almost like 2 hills. Like, it's really almost just like one long hill with, like, a break.
Yeah.
Versus the other ones, you get a downhill to, like, recover. And try to push.
So really, Heartbreak Hill starts at about 19.
I classified
20, and then 21.
Yeah. So
and then you ran by Boston College.
Yeah. So once you get over Heartbreak, like, Heartbreak killed me. It did break my heart. Like I wasn't like in shambles, like I can't finish this race, but I was not feeling good. Like I was hurting pretty bad through Heartbreak. And oops. And then and then we I
mean, it is Heartbreak.
Yeah.
Like we tell our catchers, like when they can't catch behind the plate, like, hey, it's in the job title. Like this is, hey, it's in the title. It's gonna break your heart.
Yeah. So there's a sign that's at the top that's like, congratulations, you've conquered the Newton Hills, like Newton's heart's with you and stuff. And like, so there's other people talking about this too. I don't know if they like position the banner wrong, so it's always there every year, but it was like 100 meters before the summit. So I'm like, we're not even at the top of the hill yet. And there's other people that said that too. So I was like, because I thought I was the only one. I'm like, wow, I'm just like that big of a puss. Like I was like, God, this last little bit.
There's some guy in Newton every year that does it just because of that. Shout out to you because you're doing mental warfare right now.
Yeah, that was horrible. So anyway, but yeah, so once you get over Heartbreak, you go down, and it's like a significant downhill for about a mile.
But I mean, realistically, like, is there a possibility to recover in that mile to where you can finish strong?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like, so I at that point was just kind of like, all right, let's just try to get back on pace. Like, let's just like figure out where, like, what state is my body in after the hills, and figure out like what feels good after that. Because I had some like flirting of like maybe some cramp stuff coming on, and so I was like, I don't want to cramp, so like let's just kind of reevaluate. But so the cool thing is, though, after you go over Heartbreak, you're in Boston College.
Yeah.
So again, this is now about probably noon.
Yeah.
So it's Boston College.
They're finally awake.
Yeah, they've been partying like all morning
since 7. Yeah.
So it's insane. Like the crowds in Boston College, the kids like are crazy.
Yeah.
And I mean, they have, if you want to partake in like shots on the side of the course, like you can have whatever you want. If you just want them to scream like idiots, like they'll scream like idiots. Like as much as you want to interact with the crowd, like they will respond back. Which is super cool. Like that's what I think makes Boston. But yeah, the Boston College was by far the loudest part of the course.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I was just like trying, like, I was definitely feeding off the crowd some to just try to get me like back to like a good state.
Get back to a levelness
Yeah.
you could be at.
But it was also like, you're at mile 22 of a marathon, so like you're
already dying. Yeah.
So at that point, I was like, all right, let's just try to find a rhythm that feels good without blowing up. So I was kind of just like, let's finish, but I also don't want to just like, I'm not throwing in the towel. Like I want to keep like running fast, but just get to a point where it's like I can cruise at this, and I know I'm not gonna like blow up, but I'm also not gonna like cramp, or I'm not running so slow that it's not worth it.
And that's where you kind of settled in at that 6:10,
I was like
6:11.
Yeah, I was like, I think I was running like 6:15s, 6:20s, but it was. I mean, like looking back at it now, that's my only regret in the race. Like I wish I maybe would have pushed a little bit, but in that moment, I knew like I was gonna run fast. I knew I was gonna PR and I was gonna qualify for Berlin. So I was like, I just have to get to the finish line at this point, and let's just like not blow up.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what happened. But yeah, I mean, really, like as you get into Boston, it's pretty cool because I mean you're only in Boston for like a mile. Like you're not in Boston that
not
long.
very long, because you look at the map here. You got
it's not
mile. You get so you get through Boston College, which I'm sure there's probably some pretty co-eds out there. Probably a nice weather day helped the scenery.
Yeah, there was Boston College was crazy.
We won't go too far into detail by scenery, but I'm sure you could,
you can get the picture.
Yeah, get the picture. But then you get in mile 22, 23, 24 is Coolidge Corner.
Yeah.
And then 25 looks like that's where you get into
so
Boston
25
proper.
was at Kenmore Square.
Yep.
And there's actually like so there's this like overpass that you go like on right.
I think you see it because it's like.
Oh my God. It was horrible. So that's later still.
Oh, okay.
There's this little overpass, and that thing, like, I mean, I was running so slow through this overpass. Like I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. I didn't think for a while I thought I did blow up. Like I'm not gonna make it. Like I'm gonna have to walk like for some point. But once I got over it, I was fine. But that overpass, like it's just funny because you just like look at the race and you're like, out of all things, like there was a 20-foot overpass that like wrecks you. But it's like that last like couple miles are just brutal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then we get through Kenmore Square. You get to the sit-go sign. So there's a mile to go at the sit-go sign. And that's where my parents were. They got a video of me. I didn't see them because there's so many people. And
it's
like
hard to do. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you go through. So then this is the point of the course I knew, and it actually flew by. Like that part from where the hotel was, the finish line was really cool. But yeah, I mean, so we go under the overpass you're talking about. You go under it, and then you got to come back up, and that hill kind of sucks.
Yeah, I would imagine that by the time you've done 26 miles, the last thing you want to do is another hill.
Yeah. But then you take the right on Hereford and left on Boylston, which is like the most iconic marathon term you can use.
Yep.
And yeah, it was pretty special. Like I was very thankful that like I knew I was gonna go sub 2:45.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can enjoy it. Like I don't have to like
enjoy the race.
So yeah. I did like the last like mile. I pretty much did just soak it in. Like I didn't really like push. I just kind of looked around at everything, like took the crowd in. It was pretty cool. Like the whole last stretch on Boylston, I was just like, wow.
All right, so we make the turn, the Sigco sign, we get into town, and you said it's a left and a right where you come down the main stretch.
Yeah, so you take the right on Hereford, left on Boylston, and like it is definitely a pretty like it's insane. Like it's so loud. Somebody said, and this isn't my word, somebody else said this, but it definitely and it's the closest thing I can think is what it's like. It's basically like you feel like there's all of these people screaming, and like there's other people there with you. Like I mean, there wasn't like a ton of people around me, but there was a decent amount. But it literally feels like everyone is just like looking at you, and you're like the only person finishing.
Yeah,
like that's definitely how it feels, just because it's so loud and there's just so many people on the sides and stuff, and like. You like you can see the finish line for a while, but it's just really cool, like because it's one of those things where it's not just like the culmination of just that rate. Like marathon is emotional anyway. Like it's a lot you go through in almost 3 hours, like just pushing your body to the limit. So the emotionalness of just like that is a lot, but then you put into perspective like the training of just this build, but then not only that build, like all the time it's taken to get to this point. Yeah, like so it's just a lot, like all at the same time, and you're already like emotionally drained, physically drained, like mentally drained. So it's just like everything's just kind of like melting down at that moment.
And do you think, and this is because obviously when they show the race on ESPN, they'll show the men's professionals finish, and then the women's come, 10 or 15 minutes later to the women's. Do you think they get? It's probably the answer is probably no, but like the emotional aspect. Do you think?
I think they do.
Do you? Do you really?
Yeah, because like if you watch some of the interviews afterwards too, like you're pretty exposed. I think like after a marathon like really shows like a lot of your true character and just like any big sporting event does, but like in that moment especially, because like you can be like the nicest person in the world, and if you have like a really bad day, like I don't know, it's just something like I think just because it just strips you down of everything.
Yeah.
So you're just like, if you leave everything out there like emotionally, you're just like dead.
Your give a shits are gone.
Yeah. So you have no filter. Like everything's just like pretty raw.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of elites who like their interviews can get really emotional just because they're like, I've put so much into this, like sacrifice and different things.
Yeah.
And if it's not a good day, or if it even is a good day, like either way, it's still emotional. But yeah, it's definitely like you ask anyone who's run a marathon, like the finish line is like, it's hard. You have so many things going through your mind. Like, at Carmel, like I just want to get my damn shoes off because my pinky toes are shredded.
Your pinky toes
you just have like so many,
profusely.
you have so many things going on where it's like, you want to sit down, like you don't want to sit down. You like, it's just everything hurts. You're emotional. Like, it's a lot, but, it was cool. Like after I got the medal, like, cause you kind of walk through and, I kind of like, so after I walked across the finish line, I stopped for a second and I just turned around and just like looked at everybody coming in, which was pretty cool.
That's
like that, it was like an internal shot that I'll never forget.
Yeah.
And then you just like after that, I just kind of like slowly started walking. It does kind of look like a war zone a little bit because there's so much like going around around you.
Yeah.
You have people just like collapsing and like cramping, and you have people like wheelchairs getting everybody over.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a lot, but at the same time, you're also like so out of it that like you
don't even know.
Yeah, I was like oblivious to a lot of what was going on.
The fog of war.
Yeah. So then walked over, got the medal, which was super cool. Like, I was like kind of like halfway crying when I got the medal, but like honestly I wasn't because I had I was so dehydrated I really couldn't cry.
Yeah, so right here, the 129th Boston Marathon 2025. Very cool. The Boston Athletic Association. And another cool thing, when you showed me this, was they put your name and then time on the back. So 2:42:20, which that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah, so knew at that point, like, I got everything, was getting out, trying to, and then after that, it was like going to try to find everybody, and like that was a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's insane trying to find people for a major marathon like that.
Well, and the reality of it is you've got no phone, no means of communication.
Right.
You basically just got done running.
Yeah, and you're like already, and so you're already like not even really a human. Yeah. So yeah, that was kind of difficult to find everybody, and I'm like barely walking, and and at that point like I was cold because I was like dehydrated, and it was actually like windy in the city, like in Boston, it was pretty windy. And then you stop sweating, and then like then you are cold and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. So I was just like ready to. I was
everything.
All I wanted
ready
was
to be
a freaking
done.
beer at the moment. I was just like, I just want to get out of here and get a beer and get something to eat. But yeah, so then met everybody, and we like walked back to the hotel. We ended up walking, which I couldn't believe I walked. I literally walked the mile back to the hotel. I don't even know why. They were all trying to get me to like take the subway, and I was just like, no, just walk. I was just like so out of it. Yeah.
Well, probably that walk maybe helped a little.
It probably did a little bit. Yeah. But it was cool. Like, so got back to the hotel. The other cool thing too is like as we were walking back, like the amount of people that would say like congratulations to you and just be like, oh my fucking, like you're awesome. Like, it was like I've no other marathon ever that I know. Has ever like that. Like it's just like so many people come up to you and just say like congrats, like that's awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then like when we got back to the hotel, like they had like a whole like celebration thing for all the finishers. Like when you came in, like a bunch of the like employees and just people with like round of applause and like stuff. And they even gave like a commemorative plaque like at our hotel, like in our room. So like when I got back to the room, they had like a thing like congratulations and that like, time. And yeah, it was super cool.
That's
like,
neat.
Yeah. So and my understanding, a lot of the hotels do that. So it wasn't just like the one I was at in particular, but yeah, that was super cool. Like,
well, but it's cool that they embrace.
It's just how much they care.
Well, and some of it is too is that they know a lot of these people, if they qualify once, they qualify a second time.
Right.
And if you had a great experience
You're
at
gonna
their
wanna come
hotel,
back and share
you're
it,
going to want to
yeah.
come back. I mean, it's
genius
nice,
marketing.
it's good, but
Yeah.
there's also a hint of
Right.
PR and marketing at it.
So we did that, and then I ended up going to eat because like we actually kind of like, get away from the course because like our hotel was on the course.
Yeah.
So I just wanted, like I said, a beer and something to eat.
Yeah.
So we ended up going up to Fenway and ate at a place like right outside of Fenway again. And it was, I don't remember what I got, but I was just like, it was so cool. There's so many people being like, congratulations. Like, there's actually like, there was one lady who's like drunk off her ass. She comes up to me and she's just like, did you win the race? And I was like, no, but you can think I did. Sure.
It was some other bastard that ran it at 2:04:44.
Yeah, and so she actually was like, can I see your medal? And I was like, yeah, sure. So it's like, I'm like showing it to her. She's like, rips it off of me. And I'm like, damn.
Stolen valor.
Yeah, and so she was looking at it. She like showed it to her husband, and they're like, we're sorry. That was pretty funny.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so then like that all happened. And then that night we ended up going somewhere still that night and got like some drinks and stuff. But yeah, I was just dead after that. And the day honestly like flew by like too, because I mean you finished like 1 o'clock.
Yeah,
by the time we ate and everything was like 4, and I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. Before we finish up, we're gonna take a quick pause and we'll be right back.
It's May and summer's on our heels. It means nice days, cookouts, and Memorial Day is right around the corner. This also means you don't have to suffer silently at these joyous occasions with subpar meats. Always and forever, Merkley & Son should be your go-to for seasoned patties, hot dogs, franks, and their wide selection of brats and other grilling and smoking items. They're the ultimate destination for meat enthusiasts for a reason.
All right, so we've got Boston behind us. Boston was the big goal. Obviously, we've met it. And you mentioned earlier that there's 7 majors. So we know Boston, you said Chicago, Berlin. What's the other 4?
So you have Chicago, Boston, New York, and then the overseas ones are Berlin, Tokyo, and London.
Okay.
And then they added Sydney as well. That's new. So the original was only 6, and then now they're supposedly going to add up to 9, but they have the original is just the 6-star medal.
Yeah.
So that's like to do all the majors. It's definitely like something like it's not like it's a cool. It'd be really cool, and I want to do it, and it's definitely like a goal.
Yeah.
It's not like a goal I want to like. I'm like, oh, I have to do it like as fast as possible. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like I want to run as fast as possible at each major that I can. But I'm not like in a hurry to try to get like all of them done. Like I want to like kind of enjoy that process.
Yeah.
So like the next one, like Berlin is a very fast marathon. So that was like I want to do Berlin because it'd be a really cool international marathon to do. I've never been overseas, like I've never been to Europe. So like I think it'd be fun to do anyway. But it's also a fast course, so I was like, yeah, I mean it makes sense. Like if I can qualify, then like let's do it.
So your time for Boston,
so the time
allows
for
you to
Boston
qualify.
allows me to qualify for Berlin.
So when do they run the Berlin?
So it's in September. It's
Coincidence with Oktoberfest.
Yeah, exactly. So it actually like I think is like that's kind of
coincidence. Coincides with Oktoberfest. 2 very stark different lifestyles there though.
Yeah, very. But yeah, so they I want to say, so like obviously I can't do it in 2025 because the registration is all in like I think it's in December.
Oh, okay.
So I have to wait until 2026. So it's kind of like that with all of these big races because you sign up like a year out essentially. So like that basically this fall I'm probably gonna just run Monumental Marathon again. I think.
Yeah.
Just to try to get a better time. I'm in good shape. Like I'm like may as well keep. I want to obviously keep getting better. So if that means in 2026 I'm at Berlin, then like I want to be able to run as fast as I can there. For this spring, I haven't really just like next spring.
Yeah.
I qualified for Boston again. Obviously, I can do it. The registration won't be till September, so I have a little bit of time to like think I want
about
to.
it. Yeah.
I loved Boston. Like it was amazing. I don't know. Like right now, I don't know if I'm gonna do it again. I will do it again, but I don't know if I'm gonna do it like back-to-back years.
I would say that, you mentioned the gentleman earlier that's done 11 years in a row. There's part of it that to me I would think that like, yeah, this would be cool to do every year. But then there's a part of it that with a tune of revisionist history, like your time in Boston was like special for that moment for that you hit.
Right.
And so like it almost to me, it would seem like if you would do, go do Berlin in 26 and then maybe come back to Boston. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you try to do back-to-back, because your first experience...
Like, it kind of dilutes.
Yeah, your first experience, you romanticize it to where this is what it was, and then you come back and you realize...
back up to
that hype.
Yeah.
So if you go experience other things, like, that's the cool thing about it is you keep...
Yeah.
The novelty of what Boston was will always be that for you. But, to go back-to-back, because, like, let's say there's a year where there's a problem getting something, it sucked this year. And really, you want it to be, a fun thing to do.
Like, that's, like, the pinnacle. Like, that is the biggest thing you can... So, it's, like, I do a little bit like the Marathon Blues right now, which is, like, a real thing. Like, after you... Because, I mean, you do, like, you work up to something, like... like as big as that, especially like something in a culmination of years, if it's even if it's just 16 weeks, like either way. So like after the fact, you kind of like come off that high and it's like, wow, like you kind of feel like, what do I do? Yeah. Like what do you
Well,
do,
it's funny. The only thing that, obviously, I mean, like pinnacle of something was when, Southridge won state in baseball. And it's like,
it's just like such a buildup.
You get done with all that stuff and you get done with all the, the ribbon ceremony and everybody's excited afterwards and you got the pictures and you do all that stuff. And then there came a point like that night, like we were sitting around as a staff and I was just kind of thinking about it and I was like, it's back to work.
Yeah.
Like it's back, like you want to get back to capture this. And we've, like, it's wild. It's almost, I don't want to say it takes away from it a little bit, but like my brain,
it's just like human
how my
nature,
brain works is like I'm always on to the next.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's always that on to the next. Like, what am I going to do next? Like, and it's wild because I told Janelle the other day, so I just finished my 6th class for my MBA. So I got 3 more left. I'm taking one this summer, one this fall, and then next spring or next winter, spring, whatever. And I was like, I'm thinking about getting my PhD. And she looked at me and she goes, what? Are you serious? And I was like, I don't know.
I think that's
like,
just like
it would be
that's like what differentiates people. Like like if you like that is a quality that like you have. Like I think it's a good quality to have is like if you want to you want more like
it's weird. But like she goes like, what would you do it in? And I was like, so this MBA class in this MBA curriculum, there was a leadership class. And I was like, I really loved that leadership class. It was a ton of busy work, but like the thought process and the research that they do into leadership, I was like, with my personality and the sports background and coaching, and I was like, I could set off on like a whole world motivational speaking tour on doing this and get that. She goes, you're an idiot. Just stop. Like, thanks, honey, for ruining my dream. But it's crazy. But like, you get to this pinnacle, you win state. Like, you ended your season winning the last game.
Yeah.
And
so
then
it's like what? It's just like what's the next?
Yeah. And then it's like, all right, well, it's got to be back to work. Like, what do we got to do to improve? Like, what do we got to do to be consistently good? Like, And it's probably a wild thing, but like to your point, like what's the next challenge? Because that's what motivates you more. Going back to run Boston again, you've already conquered that hill.
Exactly. And it's like in the training to do Boston too is so like, granted, like it's still marathon training, but it's very like precise with some of the stuff and just like doing hill training and like it's not fun. It was not fun. Like it was challenging and it was rewarding, but to think like right now, like, oh hey, let's do that all again is like, I don't know that I want to like do that. So I don't know. I maybe I will. I'm not saying I'm not going to. I just because people have asked me. There's been a lot of people like, "Are we doing Boston again next year?" And I'm like,
let's just enjoy this.
Yeah.
Right
so
now.
I'm like, I don't know yet. But yeah, I mean, part of me is like, sure, I probably will because that's the only other thing. There's not a lot of spring marathons.
Yeah.
It's like if I want to continue to do too. Like, I mean, there are other ones to do, but not at a big level. Like not.
You're
like
not gonna.
I like to have something that hypes me up.
You're not gonna get excited about going to run the Des Moines.
Yeah.
The Des Moines, Iowa.
Exactly.
Marathon.
Yeah.
Like it's not.
So that's why I'm like, I don't know. I think I'm just gonna. Yeah. I'll see how it goes here in the next couple weeks and months, and then kind of decide from there.
Yeah.
But
so now, like, so does New York have a qualifying time?
Yeah. So basically with New York, you can apply. It's kind of the same thing. They have a lottery. Anyone can sign up. But then with that, you also have where if you run it, like they have like a best of times people.
Yeah.
So if you run under, it's like 254 or 253. I think it's 253. You can sign up, but that doesn't mean you get in. Like they only take like a certain percentage of those people. So the other thing you can do is they have half marathons that the New York Roadrunners puts on, which is who puts the New York City Marathon on.
Yeah.
And you can go and run one of their half marathons, and you have to run the time under 121 and you get in. So
Yeah.
like, I could do that. Like, I mean, I ran 120 at Boston. Like, so I mean, that's not an issue. So I do have a race right now that I'm in that I could go do that for New York. I don't know if I'm going to. I might defer my entry till next year just because of the timing of it.
Yeah.
Because it's in like a couple weeks, and like I'm not really sure I want to race again. But yeah. So I mean, but like I said, like so New York's pretty hilly marathon, so it's not super fast. That's also kind of why I'm like I don't know that I'm not itching to go do it necessarily because I don't think I'm going to necessarily get a fast time from it. Because like Boston's a hard course, but you can run fast there.
Yeah.
Versus New York's like not really a fast course, and you can run fast, but like you're gonna probably run faster on a flatter course than you would New York.
Well, and I mean that just makes sense that way, and that's probably that New York they talk about
because it's a bridges.
Yeah,
I mean you run through each borough, so like I mean and it's a cool race. Like don't get me wrong, like I want to do it, and it's a major, so of course I want to do it, try to get the 6 stars.
Yeah.
But it's like at the same time, like I said, I really want to enjoy it all, and like I'd still have London and Tokyo to go as well. So
I would imagine London would probably be a little flat.
Yeah, London's very flat, and
Tokyo,
Tokyo's
I got
very
no
flat
clue.
as well.
Yeah,
they're both flat, so they're both fast. But London and Tokyo are both really hard to get into. Like Tokyo is extremely difficult.
Yeah,
and London is like basically both of them either like pay your way in, so you have to like buy a bib through like a tour operator. So they like have like these tour operators who like host you and like put you in hotels and like put you out through this stuff, and they get guaranteed entries. So it's like a money thing, which I think is ridiculous.
Yeah, it kind of takes away from the novelty of the sport.
Right. So like, or at Tokyo you have to be like a sub elite and you have to run. I mean, it's like crazy fast. Like I won't be able to run that fast.
Yeah.
And in London they have a normal ballot entry as well, lottery system, and Tokyo does too. So, but once you get like 4 stars out of the 6, there's a separate lottery that you can go into to try to sign up because they want you to get the 6 stars.
Yeah. So that's what I was gonna say. Like,
yeah, so
London and
like,
Tokyo are tough to get into, and it's like. So you created this 6-star challenge, but then you're not going to let people get to 6 stars.
You can do it. Like they like once you. My understanding is once you get your 5, it's almost like you're going to get into. The race.
You're guaranteed.
Like your odds of getting in are higher once you have like the more.
Yeah.
You can enter once you have the 3 stars, I think.
So you realistically, you got Chicago and
Boston, and then
you can pick off New York.
Yeah, and then
if you get Berlin, and then.
So
you could
get
other 2. So Tokyo would probably be your last.
Probably, which kind of stinks because like I want it to kind of like I've never been to Japan, so I don't know, maybe it'd be a really cool place to go. But I was kind of like it would be fun for it to be somewhere like if I would have been able to make it like Chicago, which I already did. Because then you could have more family there, and it's kind of like a more But yeah. Either way, like it's a cool way. I mean, I'm not really somebody who necessarily I love to try. Like I like to travel, but I'm not someone who's just gonna be like, oh, like I'm gonna go to Tokyo just for vacation.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a cool way to see the world too. And it's exciting.
That's the whole anybody that I've ever talked to that's done like has been to Japan, they do say like it is great. Like they love it.
Yeah.
And I watch The Amazing Race a lot, which is my whole plan to tour the world. Janelle and I will apply sometime. So Amazing Race, if you're watching this, obviously good on camera. But that's how like dude, seriously, like I have an Amazing Race obsession.
Yeah.
That
I've only watched it like once. I've never really like. So I need to like.
So do you have Paramount Plus?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
So go to Paramount Plus.
Okay.
They've got all 30. This is season 37.
They've had that many seasons.
Yeah, and
I did not know
so you start with season 1, and so I think it was last year. 24. Well. 23. I think it was in 23. I set out to watch all 35 or 36 seasons at the time.
How many hours is that?
Well, they're about 45 minutes, like depending on how, like 45, 48, whatever.
Yeah.
And then now I think they do episodes in like a 2-hour, like a 90-minute time slot. So, but I did it at work. So I have a TV in my office because I'm a big like background noise guy.
Yeah.
Because if I just sit there in silence and try to work, like I get distracted on stuff.
Yeah.
So like if I need to look up from work for a minute to catch it, like that's what I do and go back.
So like I started watching season 1, and I had watched Amazing Race a little bit before that, a couple seasons here and there, like kind of jumped in and watched. And I had just watched season 35 like live as it came out, which was 2 years ago. And so like I watched season 35 and I was like, man, I do love this show. Like I forgot how much like I enjoyed watching it because you're basically going to all these unique and cool places and seeing them.
It's like a double story.
Yeah, and I'm not a world traveler by any means at all. I've been to Canada once and that's it. Like we've not even done the token like Mexico trip
I've been
for
to,
an
like, the
all-inclusive.
Bahamas in Canada. Yeah, like, I'm the same way.
Nothing.
Yeah.
So I started with watching season 1 and I just like fell in love with it and then continued to watch and just, like it basically when I went into the office, turn it on as background noise and then just watch it through. And like it took a ton of time to get through it.
Yeah.
So then like I got to the very end and including the new season and I was like, shit, what do I do? And I was like, I'll just start it back over because there's things I missed, of course. So then you go through it again, but it's just a way of it's just so cool because you see the world. And then like the seasons are all different. So like the first probably 6 or 7 seasons are more of that, like a different feel. Like travel was so much like their travel arrangements were so, this is complete sideline from talking about Chase Bland and marathon stuff, but we get here sometimes. And so, like, the travel is such a bigger deal because they filmed season 1, like, 9/11 occurred while, like, they were filming somewhere, like, right after. So, like, they get to the airports and they're trying to book flights and they got rules on it. So, teams could buy multiple tickets and then if they find another. So, the game has changed now to where it's not as, like, people, I think at the end of that first season, the third place team was like a full 24 hours behind the first 2 finishers. And it was because of the travel thing, like how they release you when your times and all that other stuff. But now they've changed that rule where the travel doesn't get them hicked up as much. So like the challenges on the course have become more, but I don't know. It would be cool. I had 2 opportunities to travel abroad. One was at UE. They have Harlexton. Didn't do it. Like I was too involved in just being in Southern Indiana and enjoying time with the boys. And I had a lot of friends that went to Harlexton, love it. And then when I was in law school, they Cooley had a program where you could go spend 8 weeks in New Zealand and then 8 weeks in Australia. And I didn't do that either. So that's my whole hope. But, you talk about the travel. Like, would Janelle and I just pack up and go to Tokyo? Like, no.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But if we were there on something else, like, that would be the way to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to qualify for the Tokyo Marathon, probably.
No.
Yeah. Hey, if Brother Tyler's, slowly I couldn't imagine. I'm trying to think about what it would be. I don't know what I could come out and run a mile in. I'd have to lose some weight. I'd have to.
You'd be surprised.
You don't see very many 300-pound marathon runners.
You don't. You're right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We were happy to have Rugged Foot join the Dutchman family last month and are even more excited they are here again in May. Rugged Foot does more than just safety toe, work boots, and rubber boots. They also have hiking boots and other casual footwear for lounging or for work. Don't forget, Rugged Foot also does leather repair. Mike helped Esquire patch a torn loophole on his favorite pair of golf shoes just last year. Stop up and see the Rugged Foot store on 4th Street in Huntingburg today.
So, I guess, so what's the future hold? Obviously, we got a little bit of, you just kind of wrapping up. You're just...
Right, yeah, so Berlin's definitely on the calendar. Like, that's for sure going to happen. I'll probably do Monumental this fall. That's for sure going to happen. But, yeah, other than those 2 things, I really don't have too much on the books yet. So
and then just train Brother Tyler.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you what, I appreciate you coming in. Yeah, we had a little bit of a scheduling snafu. I can confirm Smoke is back from Mexico because he's going to edit this. He doesn't know that yet, but when he listens to this, he's going to find out. Big Fella is in Arizona. I'm the only one here. We were supposed to do it Wednesday. Big Fella forgot his wife's birthday. Thursday I had baseball, and I was like, there's no way. Like, I knew it, too.
Yeah.
And then he was leaving early Friday, and then I texted you, like, Saturday afternoon and was like, hey, And you're like, let's do Sunday. So we sat down here Sunday in real time to talk. But dude, we're super proud. Like I know like we've slowly grown into it. But like when we shared all the stuff going out and your times, like the reaction to it was great, which is cool. 'Cause I mean, you're doing something that so many people try to do, but can't or don't or won't. And that deserves light. I mean, that deserves.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate like all that you guys did. Like it was awesome. Like I like literally had to turn my phone off like the night before because there's just like so many notifications.
Yeah,
and I was trying to like say thank you. Like so, thank you to everybody. Like I was blown away. Like each time that we do this, I am like more and more blown away by it. I like everyone's like good luck and encouragement like definitely helped get me there. Like, and I mean that. Like I knew like there were so many people back here watching.
Yeah.
And that like actually like helps. Like I was like, like it doesn't feel like I'm just running for like Chase. Like I'm running like for, Holland. I'm running for like more than just me.
Yeah, that's cool.
And that was super special. And then after the race, like the amount of people that just been like, how are you feeling? Like, congratulations, just anything. It's been super cool. So you guys are a huge part of that too.
Yeah,
So I thank you guys. Like,
and it all started with a case of Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
That was probably the first. Those pro guys may have Nike, Adidas, Puma, Asics, Brooks, whoever they
don't. But they don't.
Whoever they run with, they don't have the Wondering Dutchman Pabst Blue Ribbon.
That's right.
So, but it's cool. Like I watched it at work, and it's just cool. Like, it's just such a respect thing because what you put your body through, it's amazing. Yeah. But we're super proud of you, man.
Thank you.
And I know that whatever the future may holds, I think we're all in.
Yeah, the only other thing I'm going to add is, like, I think me and Tyler are going to try to maybe start sharing some stuff on social.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to try to do some videos or something, like, weekly. Or kind of, we think it'd be cool for people to see, like, a little bit more of, like, what it takes like weekly or like monthly, just something that you guys can maybe like check in on like on a more routinely basis to kind of see like what we actually do put in. And it would be cool to see like from his perspective, somebody, with the family and like to show like anybody can really do this.
It really is a real thing. Like we were talking off air and I said, well, we should wait for it. But we were talking about triathlons.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it. And I've done 3 sprint distance triathlons, and I am infatuated with the idea, kind of like how your Boston is. Like it's something to conquer that a lot of people try to do, but I would love to be able to do an Ironman. But like you look at the training regimen of it,
and it can be really intimidating.
It becomes your life.
It really, and it kind of does to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, it's like everything's a choice, and if you want to sacrifice the things to make that reality, then it can be. But we thought it'd be cool for people to see.
Yeah, it is. Well, we'll keep our eyes out for it. Now, I mean, we've not negotiated a deal with Brother Tyler.
Yeah, I mean, I know we still need some like terms and
we're gonna have to figure that out.
Yeah,
I mean, he's put the cart before the horse, but we obviously support him as well. But
we'll have to put some ink down on something.
Yeah, so. I mean, that's exactly right. So, but dude, we're super proud. I think people are going to enjoy this because there's a lot to the race.
I hope they do. I mean, I don't feel like what I did was all that entertaining, but I mean, I hope people get a little bit of enjoyment out of it.
Well, but I think it's
an insight.
It's an insight.
Yeah.
It's an insight. And that's the cool thing because it's, when you have 2 hours and 42 minutes between yourself and, because like you said, you had the Screaming Tunnel there at, what is that, Wesley?
Yeah, Wellesley.
12, yeah. And then you get to Boston College. There's probably not as much great scenery between mile 13 and then mile 20.
Yeah,
I would probably get distracted. I would get to 13 and I couldn't stop. Like, I'd have to walk. I'd have to plan break there at 13 and then probably Boston College. But, that's all.
I do have to give a shout out to Brado too.
Yeah.
His class like followed along. Like the whole time too, which is super cool. Like, he said he's maybe getting the itch to give something another go.
Yeah.
So
well, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, that guy is in great shape and I think he would adjust to it pretty quick.
Yeah. And I think like the first time is always humbling. Like, I think that first marathon he did was just like humbling. So like he's ready to do it again, I think. And he'll kill it. Hopefully this is the motivation he needs being called out. You got to do it again, bro.
He's going to be even more. So I ran into him. Zoe had a makeup T-ball game this past Friday in real time. And I ran into him, and he's like, "Hey, did you guys get the?" And I was like, "No, it's been a mess trying to schedule."
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Hey, let me know." And then I didn't. I forgot to. So
It's all right.
Yeah.
All right. He'll just have to do one, and then.
well, we'll get a text at 5:30 in the morning when he's on the elliptical and being like, "Hey, what the hell? Didn't know you
That's
had him
true,
in."
that's true.
So, but hey, I appreciate it. I know the fellas do too. Dave's recovering from Mexico. Big fella's not here, but we appreciate it, and we. Dude, it was just as proud moment seeing you cross the finish line, and especially your time, because Tyler was like, dude, he is on fire, and he is hunting a time, and that's cool, because when you know that, and you watch it, and you're like, dude, that's...
Yeah, it makes it like even,
That's even awesome.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
congratulations.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, go ahead and send us out.
All right, Dutchman out.